I want to make this short video today to explain why we should keep things simple when we're trading. So being a beginner as well, I want to share some things that I found that I was doing myself that was just not efficient. So I hope you guys can find some value in what I say, and hope you guys enjoy the video. I think trading is a skill that takes time to develop. If you're a beginner like me, why should you overcomplicate the process? I know personally when I first started, my thought process was that the more stuff, the better. I mean, when I was small to even now, the idea of abundance was always, I guess, reinforced. However, through my trading experience, I learned that this isn't the case. This is where the term analysis by paralysis comes from, where there's just too much information to process, so we end up overthinking and in the end making the wrong decision. It's almost like on a test where your first gut feeling answer is usually right. And if you're listening to this and you currently use many indicators, hats off to you. I mean, I personally can't do it. I tried and I can't. But for the rest of you, the ones that are just starting, I recommend using at most 1 or 2, maybe 3 indicators. Because in the end of the day, you have to find something that works for you. Your trading style, your philosophy, your risk management. Everyone's different. So everyone's trading strategy should be different as well. Some people can trade this and some people can trade this. It all comes down to skill, right? Trading is a skill, right? People that can trade this have maybe years of experience over you, right? Don't get me wrong, indicators are helpful, but a lot of the times people start to ignore price action. They just look at indicators, and indicators are useful, but they're lagging. So another reason why too many indicators are not that great is that sometimes, or a lot of times, indicators contradict each other. And if you had like 5 indicators to line up, you probably never take a trade. You probably take a trade once a year, and that's not what we're trying to look for, right? We're trying to find good setups that are high probability. Personally, I use VWAP and moving averages, and time to time I use RSI, but mostly for my swing trades. So let me ask you this. As a kid, did you learn to walk first or did you learn to run first? I'm guessing most of you actually learned how to walk before you even thought about running. So what I'm saying is, by taking baby steps, it'll help build your foundation. Just like how you can't run before you walk, you can't expect yourself to just copy and paste someone else's strategy. And I can't stress this enough, that trading is a skill and it needs time to be developed. Whether that be pattern recognition, your discipline, or simply your strategy. So speaking of strategy, by following a concrete plan, a plan that is straightforward, you're more likely to actually follow your plan. And like my last video, I think this is really important because it touches base on consistency. But not only that, you're also able to tweak and manipulate things that you find works better for you. I can imagine that if you had too many variables, it would be hard to actually pinpoint what needs to be changed. And that's why I think keeping things simple is so important, because it gives you that ability. So I'll give you an example of how a strategy can be tweaked. For example, maybe your plan is to take profits when price touches VWAP, but through your experience, you always notice that it shoots through VWAP and bounces off the pre-market high. So then you might tweak your strategy, where you take half at VWAP maybe and half at the pre-market high. So like the little things. If you had too many variables, how can you really find what needs to be changed? So I say this, and I say this time and time again, but trading is a game of averages. By understanding your plan down to the numbers, it's going to help you tremendously. And also it carries that much more value when you have that confidence through backtesting and just knowing that your plan works, instead of trying to copy and paste someone else's strategy and taking their word for it. And there's nothing wrong with using someone else's strategy, but at the end of the day, you gotta understand why you're doing the thing you're doing, right? Some people just blindly do it because they're told to do it, but if you don't understand, then it's really hard to apply it in the market, because the market, there's so many situations in the market. It's not going to give you a textbook perfect example. I was personally a victim of this too. I used to think the same, where I just try to copy and paste someone else's strategy, and I didn't really understand what I was doing. And I think that's where it became problematic, because I was doing things out of feel because I really didn't understand what I was doing. So half the time I was trading with emotions instead of with the actual plan, and this becomes dangerous. It's really how I lost over 59% of my portfolio, but that could be another video idea, I don't know. So this is kind of the end of my video, but I just wanted to say that if you're a beginner or you want to get started in this and you're struggling to even find a strategy, it's okay. Like any skill, it takes time, and you should have compassion towards that. Don't feel like shit because you're losing money. It takes time. Keep your head up and keep pushing forward. And if you really don't know what you're doing right now, I suggest reading a book, a manuscript, and getting an idea of some of these strategies out there. Once you have that, you could tweak it, and then you could backtest it and try it out in paper trades. So to summarize what I said today, I touched on 2 points of why we should keep things simple, and that is too many indicators lead to contradictions. You have an RSI that gives you a buy signal, and you might have a VWAP that's giving you a sell signal. It might be hard to even find a trade. And then point 2, by keeping things simple, you'll be more likely to master a setup instead of jumping from one strategy to another. So I hope today I've convinced some of you that you really don't need a super complicated strategy, and that less is more, especially when you're starting off new. Just keep things simple. It'll help you get started, and it'll help you stay in this game long term. Like, I'm not saying that hard strategies or complex strategies are don't work, but you have to find something that works for you, and that's the bottom line of what I'm trying to say today. So that's all. So I hope you like this video. Like and subscribe.